we ought to do everything we can to implement common sense measures to reduce gun violence in America.
If we value our right for ourselves and our families and our children to be safe, if we value this Constitution, if we value the right of every American to enjoy their liberties with reasonable limitations, then we need to return to issues that are of importance.
Right. A couple of points on that. So your solution is more guns.
Sure.
And if you look at the mass shootings over the last 5 years, only 13 of them have been in places where guns were illegal. The rest of them, most of them, have been in private homes. So that is not really a solution. And what happened yesterday at the Navy Yard, it's a gun-free zone in that airports are gun-free zones, where the people who have guns are security guards, armed professionals that can keep people safe. The instances of average citizens stepping in and preventing a shooting and saving people are rare.
AR-15 killing multiple Americans. I just cannot have this debate anymore. It is ridiculous. Do something about it. And the three gentlemen just came on. Think about your position. Think about how it helps save American lives, because it doesn't. More guns is not the answer.
So why is there always this race to politicize a tragedy and advance an agenda?
Today, once again in America, we witnessed a horrific crime that took place by Aaron Alexis at a Washington, D.C. Naval Yard. And I don't want to go the way in which I see many leftists going, and I don't want to jump to conclusions as a person on the right as well. First and foremost, what we need to do is consider the families and consider the pain that they're going through and the emptiness that they're going through. This isn't a time for us to play political games. This isn't a time for us to forget the lost in order to achieve our own political objectives. This is a time for the nation to mourn. And right now we have 12 dead, and we have a shooter that's dead, and we don't want to jump to conclusions. Already I see Piers Morgan, instead of offering condolences to the families, instead of saying let's pray for the families, I see him leading Pastor Rick Warren down a trail of let's play this gotcha game. I see posts on the internet of Hillary Clinton 2016 already talking about banning guns. And this is absolutely ridiculous. This is absolutely nonsense. This is an area which we don't need to go. I think reasonable people can understand, or reasonable people can agree that what we need to do is first and foremost find out what happened. Find out the facts of the case and then make reasonable conclusions as a result of that. It appears as though this gentleman has had problems as early as 2004, shooting incident in 2004, once again in 2010. So we can reasonably assume that the guy was nuts, and we can start there. I don't believe he yelled out Allahu Akbar. If that's the case, then we know it's a terrorist attack. What I do understand is that he had a history of playing video games. He had a history of PTSD, and these are areas in which we can have legitimate conversation. But I don't want to play the game that the left is already playing, capitalizing on the grief of families, capitalizing on dead soldiers. There are legitimate questions that should be raised, however. We know that with the Fort Hood terrorist shooting with Naval Hassan, we know that with the Sandy Hook massacre, with the crazy nut there, that these were gun-free zones. So maybe it's time for us to start looking at the common denominator in many of these shootings. This is a legitimate question. I'd like to know, why is it that people can walk onto our military bases and kill our heroes willy-nilly, easily? Why are they sitting ducks? We send these men off to war to fight and die for us, yet they're not allowed to have their own or defend themselves on U.S. shores. They're not allowed to practice their Second Amendment rights here within the United States. This is a common denominator. This is a legitimate question that I think should be raised, because it makes no sense for our men to go die overseas, come back home where they should be safe on a base, and be shot down like sitting ducks. So perhaps this is a legitimate question. This is what we need to look at.
Yes, I got my swagger back. Yes, I got my swagger back. Yes, I got my swagger back. Yes, I got my swagger back.